mysteriously blew up a whale carcass. Hear from the reporter who covered the now infamous event.
It was just overwhelming and sickening.
Many plants don't like the cold, so what's the best way to care for them in winter?
Don't use plastic, use something that's more cloth-based.
Plus, how wedding flowers are bringing joy to kids long after the party is over.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. For the second straight night, the northern lights were visible across a large swath of the nation, and while people in places like Alabama and Tennessee were once again able to catch a glimpse of the light show, the geomagnetic storm has faded. This was likely the last night to see the aurora. Meteorologist Ethan Foreman spoke to an expert who explains why the lights have been visible across a wider part of the U.S.
The Northern Lights is one of many things that is more common in northern Michigan, but this week, this is a phenomena that is happening all across the country in an intense way.
We've recently had some activity from the sun. The sun's been very active of late during this part of the sunspot cycle with a lot of large sunspots. And from that, we're getting eruptions on the surface of the sun that push out into the area around the sun called the corona.
These northern lights can be seen much farther south in the northern hemisphere, and this is far from common.
The outburst that we had, we were getting northern lights as far south as Alabama, Florida, and Texas. Even some picked up in El Salvador. So we're looking at northern lights at in the range of around 13 to 14 degrees north latitude, which is extremely unusual, if not maybe the first time ever. The sun is cyclical, meaning it goes through an 11-year period of cycle where the activity of the sun increases and decreases, where we get a lot of sunspots, many coronal mass ejections, and this repeats about every 11 years. Right now we're at the peak of that activity with the sun.
The colors in the night sky are very vibrant, but there is some science going into how we see these vibrant colors.
Now, the colors are a combination of intensity and the chemical elements in our atmosphere. So we'll see the reds and greens. Often the greens and blues are higher level and low energy level, so it's affecting most of the oxygen, nitrogen in our atmosphere.
There is one color in particular that is making these northern lights very vibrant.
When we get the reds, we're getting more of the lighter gases that are contained in the upper portion of our atmosphere become excited. So when we see the red ones, they're usually very, very intense outbursts from that.
While this is a really cool phenomena that is happening, you may notice some disruptions this week to some technology.
These highly charged particles interfere with satellites, telecommunications, so cell phone reception and other things that are involving satellites communication may be a bit problematic over the next couple of days.
The typhoon that struck the Philippines and then Taiwan has now weakened and moved out to sea, but it brought significant flooding to Taiwan, collapsing homes and causing this lake to burst. In the Philippines, the U.S. is now sending disaster relief after the typhoon left 27 people dead. It came just 1 week after another typhoon killed more than 200 people there. And yesterday marked 55 years since Oregon state leaders had a dud of an idea. They used 20 cases of dynamite to blow up a dead sperm whale that washed up on the coast. Now, the explosion sent blubber from the 8-ton carcass flying hundreds of feet in the air, leaving a nasty stench behind. Our station Oregon was the only one there. They caught up with Paul Lindman, the reporter on the scene all those years ago. He says it was a stinky ride back to the station.
I mean, it was just overwhelming and sickening. And people around me, I mean, people were getting sick, and I don't have the strongest stomach in the world, and I came close, but it was awful. And such that, you know, when you get in the car and other people who hadn't been there are rolling down windows to keep from smelling you, it was quite a shocker.
Lemon says it took years to accept that his claim to fame as an exploding whale, given his work as a journalist on other more important stories. Today he says he has no regrets. He's thankful for all the attention, but with a smile, he also says, enough already. Well, life doesn't stop at it snows, and local governments are among those who work to keep the roads clear so people can go out and do their business, get it handled. But last year, New York State had a road salt shortage on their hands. This raised some questions and concerns about this winter. Natalie Calzatoni brings us more than 2 towns in Rochester area.
Last winter, a road salt shortage sparked concern across the state and locally.
I think things will be better this year. hopefully this year.
As I reported in February, the town of Farmington and other municipalities experienced delivery delays from its contractor, American Rock Salt. At the time, the Mount Morris-based mine cited a long stretch of cold weather as the reason for the shortage.
If they can keep up with the deliveries, it won't be an issue at all. We're in good shape here. We've got enough salt to last us quite a while. Hopefully it's not a long, cold, snowy winter.
Henrietta's highway superintendent says its salt barn is fully stocked, and he was informed a shortage was not expected.
We just made sure that we loaded up during the summer, and we were fully stocked before the season started. Ordering last year was, we had to wait 2-3 weeks to get salt in once it was ordered. This year we haven't seen anything like that.
Last season, American Rock Salt was in charge of supplying salt to 30 counties across the state. This contract term, it appears to be supplying to just 17 counties, according to the State Office of General Services road salt pricing sheet. The highway superintendents say they have already started salting roads this season.
And when that snow does fall, it comes in many different shapes and sizes. Meteorologist Violet Skybor explains how each one is actually different.
Looking at the types of snow, there's 3 groups. We've got wet snow, typical snow, and dry snow. Taking 1 inch of water, that produces 5 inches of wet snow with temperatures in the 30s. Colder air, temperatures in the 20s, is when we get typical snow. You can see about 10 inches of that. And with dry snow, you need temperatures in the teens to see that really fluffy snow. Only 1 inch of water can produce 20 inches of that type of snow. But it's a lot lighter. Notice it's only about 3 pounds per cubic foot for dry snow, 10 pounds per cubic foot for typical snow, but up to 20 pounds per cubic foot of that wet snow for only 5 inches. So we can see different types of snow depending on how much water content is in it. But what type of snow is best for snowball making, making snowmen, and sledding? Well, that typical snow is going to be best for all 3. Wet snow just is a bit too moist to hold together, and dry snow just crumbles apart when you try to make a snowball out of it. Typical snow is also the best when it comes to friction for sledding. We're also looking at different types of snowflakes depending on the temperature. With temperatures from 25 to 32 degrees, that's when we see things like thin plates. It switches over to needles when we have temperatures of 21 to 25 degrees, hollow columns from 14 to 21 degrees, stellar plates, those really pretty looking snowflakes from 10 to 14 degrees, and the typical type of snowflake shape, dendrites, with temperatures from 3 to 10 degrees. It also starts to go back when we get even colder. -8 to 3 degrees, stellar plates, and then below -8, it's back to hollow columns.
Go across the nation and look at some of the crazy temperature swings cities are seeing this week. And we start in Birmingham, Alabama, where they set a new record low just 2 days ago, 25 degrees. That's not the case today, where highs will be in the low 70s. Now, here's a look at Oklahoma City, where the mercury dropped to a bone-chilling 23 degrees on Monday. Today's high is expected to reach 77, and by tomorrow, we are looking at the low 80s. It was 28 degrees in Atlanta, Georgia on Tuesday. Today in Centennial Park will be more like 40 degrees warmer, with a high of 70 degrees, and it's expected to get even warmer in the coming days. And talk about a temperature swing right here. Jacksonville, Florida saw a high of 84 degrees last Sunday. Just 2 days later, the mercury fell to 28 degrees, and now today it's rising to 74 degrees, with temperatures approaching 80 degrees by this weekend. And check out this satellite time lapse of Pennsylvania. The ripples you see are called gravity waves. As NASA explains, they are similar to what happens when you drop a stone in a calm pond. The waves form in the atmosphere when air is forced upward by hills or mountains into a layer of stable air. Gravity then causes the air to fall back down, causing the ripple effect you see right here. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, winter is coming. We'll show you what you need to do now to make sure your plants survive all those cold months ahead.
I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti. We look at the Northeast. We're tracking more seasonably cool conditions in the Northeast and at times unsettled conditions. Temps today will top out in the 40s to near 50 degrees. It'll be warmest down into New York, northern parts of New Jersey, and there we're brightest as well. This is 2 o'clock in the afternoon. There's the chance for a few rain and snow showers. And I think that will be the rule on Friday as well. Skies will be partly sunny. I think we're brightest in the morning. There's a bunch of these clouds during the course of the afternoon, and I can't rule out a snow shower, mostly in the mountains.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Bailey. Here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. Dry conditions as we move through the next few days. At least our temperatures have returned back to a little bit closer to the average. A few snow showers way to the north up towards New York off the lakes, but we are going to likely see just more sunshine for our area all the way into your Saturday. As temperatures will have a chance to recover back to the 50s for highs, except for the mountains. We'll see more of that on Friday. Highs still reaching the mid to upper 50s.
Hi, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Collins with a look at your southeast forecast. After a chilly start to the day for most of the southeast, high pressures in control heading through the afternoon and really over the next few days, which will start up our warming trend heading towards the end of the week and into the start of the weekend with mostly sunny skies across the southeast and a quiet weather pattern too. Afternoon highs for your Thursday returning to the 60s for the Carolinas, into the 70s for the northern Gulf Coast and the Mississippi River Valley, and in the upper 70s for South Florida.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Well, check this out. A rainbow at night. It's known as a moonbow or a lunar rainbow. They form just like daytime rainbows, except with light from the moon, which was almost full when this photo was taken. The colors in a moonbow often appear faint or white, but can be captured in photographs like this one.
For more content like this, like the National Weather Desk on Facebook.
In Wisconsin, some communities got a big dose of winter weather during the weekend, but it looked different in other places. Meteorologist Audrey Lee explains how lake effect snow made the difference in what people saw.
The first snowfall of the season arrived over the weekend in Wisconsin, but not everyone saw it. Door County was under a winter storm warning Sunday as heavy lake effect snow showers brought anywhere from 3 to 8 inches of snow across the county. Here along the Lake Michigan shoreline is where that lake effect snow really added up. We had that cold air grabbing that moisture off of the waters, and that turned it into those snow bands. This is also why portions of southeast Wisconsin saw more than a foot of snow over the weekend. Typically, Door County sees its lake effect snow from Lake Michigan or the Bay of Green Bay. But this time, it came from much farther, Lake Superior, as northwest winds pushed across the open water. The Great Lakes states are known for lake effect snow. Moisture and heat gets picked up when cold air moves over warmer lake waters. That air rises, cools, and creates narrow bands of snow that can result in some seeing several inches of snow, while nearby areas don't see anything. It all depends on wind direction.
And winter with this heavy snow and freezing temperatures is a time when many people need to rely on portable generators to keep their home warm during severe winter weather. But there are precautions that need to be taken to make sure that it's actually done safely. Meteorologist David Holtman explains.
Studies have shown that portable generators are leading to more cases of carbon monoxide poisoning. Carbon monoxide is a colorless, odorless gas that could be deadly.
The symptoms are actually very similar to what a flu or cold or food poisoning feels like. So headache, dizziness, nausea, fatigue, shortness of breath. So very important, if anybody feels these symptoms, leave the premise right away and call 911 for emergency medical attention.
About 100 people die every year because of carbon monoxide poisoning linked to generators inside homes and garages. There are some simple steps you could take to protect yourself.
A generator, a portable generator, needs to be placed as far away as possible from the home or any dwelling. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission advising to have a generator as far away as possible, 20 feet from any dwelling. Very important to have that exhaust pointing away from any of the structures as well.
If you happen to accidentally leave one running inside your home, there are other ways to protect yourself. Some newer generators have alarms and shutoff switches that trigger if carbon monoxide levels are too high. Sometimes that might not be enough.
Have a carbon monoxide alarm that's separate from the generator in every floor of the house. Alarms are a first line of defense.
Well, it's not just people that need to stay warm in winter months. Now is a great time to start thinking about what to do with those frost and temperature sensitive plants in your yard. Meteorologist Donnie Cox spoke with a nursery expert to get advice on winter plant care.
This is the time of year when people suddenly realize they have plants to take care of in a short amount of time. What do they need to start looking at now?
The best thing to do is any of your tropical plants that you want to save, you have to bring those indoors. Your house plants for sure, otherwise they're not going to make it. Like the marigolds here, this isn't going to survive the cold, whereas your pansies or violas, they will survive the cold, no problem.
If you do have to leave things outside and you have to cover them up, one of the things that everybody does is grab plastic.
Plastic actually traps in moisture, which will put more water on the plant, and when it freezes, it's going to cause more harm than good.
So some kind of cloth or a sheet or some type of cover for plants is the best thing to pick up.
An old bed sheet, car towel. We have frost cloth here that works very well. It can keep the temperature up to 15 degrees warmer under that cloth.
Should people actually continue the normal watering process, or is it different in the winter?
It's slightly different in the winter. As you bring your plants indoors, you're running your heat in your house a whole lot more, which is going to dry out the air, which is going to dry out the plant more than if it's outside. So you kind of have to play it by ear a little bit, but sometimes it's pretty much the same watering standards. So you need the water before it gets really cold at night, especially in your container pots or newly planted shrubs, because a well-hydrated plant is going to tolerate the cold a lot better than a dehydrated plant is.
And that'll help it recover when we do warm back up. So these are some simple tips for you getting ready for the cold weather and how to make sure that we have all of the plants covered in your yard. And if you need to bring something in, just remember, as Daniel told you earlier, don't use plastic, use something that's more cloth-based.
And speaking of plants, flowers are a major part of many weddings, but once the glitz and glamour is over, many flowers are just simply thrown away. Now, one wedding planner in South Carolina is working to change that. Lisa Weissman has that story.
Like the tiniest seed from which a beautiful flower grows, all things start somewhere. And for Sarah Abarno-Skinner, that beginning was as a wedding planner.
After a wedding, there's always a ton of waste. And unfortunately, most of the flowers go in the trash. And I just got tired of throwing in the garbage.
The thought germinated and blossomed into this. Classes taught at group homes around town.
Perfect. And then you want to keep it turning.
Where children in the foster care system can learn the trade of floral design, giving a second life to the flowers picked up from weddings and to the children who hold them.
It's kind of spilled over into a lot of their behaviors. Kids that were really aggressive and constantly fighting, they've kind of chilled out and they're not fighting as much.
Working with the delicateness of the flowers, a form of therapy itself.
Whereas the days that they're kind of having a harder time, they will gravitate toward, maybe the flowers that look like they're dying. We'll have some kids, just completely cut off the heads. And I'm like, that's fabulous. Morticia Adams would totally vibe with this. And I will take a picture of it the same way I'll take a picture of everybody else's bouquets.
And with their skills, the children have a pathway to a career, like for these two graduates.
These are two of our interns. This is Carmen and Bria. They're working on some bud vases. We've got some compotes going.
Crafting dozens of arrangements just so at a West Ashley Floral Studio ahead of an upcoming event.
We have these two over here that are a little bit more purpley. Hers is going to be more of the coral with the cream and white tone.
They're blooming, and it's a pretty incredible thing to be a part of.
And time now for a short break, but first we take to the skies over Yosemite National Park.
Well, a very good Thursday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buckmichael. Pretty quiet weather for a lot of the Midwest for the day today. We are looking dry across most of the Midwest with high temperatures in the 50s and 60s. Got a couple of 70s on the map there as well. So consider yourself lucky if you're warming up that much. Tomorrow, a little bit more sunshine, and we do have a few more 70s on the map tomorrow. And still staying dry for most of us Saturday. A few showers in the Ohio Valley.
Well, good Thursday morning to you, meteorologist Chris Uccia. Look at our forecast today across the region, starting off with a nice cool morning, but milder than recent nights. The afternoon, a little bit warmer, 70s and 80s with a lot of sunshine, a couple of fair weather clouds, dry weather, and this will carry into Friday's forecast. Starting off in the morning with mild temperatures, maybe a few patches of fog around the Austin to San Antonio area. Then through the day, warm sunshine, 70s and 80s.
Well, hi there, everybody, and a good Thursday morning to you. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. Out west, mid-November is here, and so is the pretty typical mid-November weather, frankly. It is damp up and down the west coast, especially in Puget Sound and in Portland through the Willamette Valley, but we have rain all the way into the city by the Bay today, too. Versus 87 in the sun in Phoenix. High pressure still building over the Four Corners. Going to be bright and blue all the way into Salt Lake City, but gusty and stormy into the Golden State. And that's the scene from here.
I'm meteorologist Colin Rogers at News Channel 3 in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and you're watching the National Weather Desk.
Forecasting future storms can be a challenge, meteorologist Lindsay Storrs says is similar to a popular Price is Right game.
Forecasting a storm that is many days away, let's say 7 to 10 days away, is a lot like playing the game Plinko. When you've got a storm that's that far out, there are so many possibilities of track and timing that it can take, and each one has a different outcome down here at the bottom. So as you get closer to the storm approaching your area, no longer do you have all of these options of what can happen, but you're able to better narrow it down as to what the result of this storm will be. You're better able to pinpoint the exact track, the exact timing, and the intensity of the storm, so you know how much snow you'll get or rain if it's a storm in the summer. So that's why, as you get closer to a storm approaching, a meteorologist can give you more specific details.
And looking for more weather content just like this, you can find us on all your favorite social media platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Just search the National Weather Desk. We'll be right back. And thank you so much for joining us. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great day, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow.